2 days following the debate, showing Ron DeSantis did not get the boost he needs to close in on Donald Trump. The Florida governor remains stuck at 13% among Republicans. Now, Mr. Trump actually widened his lead up from 47 to 52%. That's despite not even being on stage. Let's bring in now Princeton University political scientist Dr. Lauren Wright with us now. So, Lauren, you know, in today's political environment, do you think it's unrealistic to expect a significant bump after one debate?
It's very tough. I mean, if you think about this, Arthel, 8 people on a stage, 2 hours with lots of interjections, commercials mixed in there, that's about 10 minutes or less for these candidates to stand out. And so really the measure of success is, are you at least where you were after the debate, not embarrassing yourself or getting into some kind of scuffle that turns in to a meme is a measure of success. And so what we really saw here is the candidates that went in on top, DeSantis, Ramaswamy, and Nikki Haley was right there next to them, still have those positions. And so it might just be a matter of people who loved those candidates going in still like them, but some of the differences and nuances in the polling are interesting nonetheless.
Well, I thought Nikki Haley definitely was a standout on that first debate. But, you know, debates are where you can sell yourself to American voters. So drilling down based on the first debate performance, who would you say should do more of the same and who should adjust their debate strategy for the next one on Fox Business?
Well, Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley gave very good performances. The tough thing for Nikki Haley, and I believe she was very brave with some of those more moderate positions she took, she really made the argument that Republicans need to have a message that appeals to general election voters and to need to own up to some of their own mistakes that go against their principles of not too much government interference or not too much spending. So if she manages to stay in this position, she can take on Trump on those issues. The problem she'll have is that she worked for Donald Trump. She said as recently as March 2021, if he ran, she would not stand in his way. She would not run against him. And that was after January 6th. So she has some questions.
But she's running against him now. But Lauren, she's running against him now. So, you know, she's actually modifying that. But regardless, you know, Mr. Trump is still the dominant GOP front. Yeah, it is. Mr. Trump is still the dominant GOP frontrunner, despite multiple indictments and the prospect of being convicted. How do you explain that? And will he have the same dominance over the general voting pool?
I don't have a popular view on this, but I do have a strong view on it, Arthel. I do not think the indictments are helping Donald Trump. There's simply no evidence of that. There is evidence that he was the front runner to begin with. People know who he is, and if you liked him before, you still like him. But keeping your levels of support are not the same as expanding your levels of support. And even the evidence that's been brought forth that says, if we look at these before and after analyses, Trump sometimes ticks up in the polls or benefits from, it seems to get more funding as a result of the indictment. We really don't know, because simultaneously other candidates like DeSantis are tanking. Simultaneously, more people are paying attention. And so we don't know that it's the indictments that are helping him. It's much more likely that despite the indictments, he's still the front runner, and he was to begin with.
Right. And that seems to not be hurting him. And he has been able to raise more money even after that now infamous shot there, baseball card, you know, mugshot. Let me say this, though. If Trump is ultimately not the GOP candidate, and if President Biden is ultimately not the Democratic candidate, who could the candidates be?
Well, that's very hard to say. I don't know who it would be besides Biden that could win, frankly. I don't think Kamala Harris could win a national election, but I think it would be very insulting for her not to be the nominee. She got the second place job. Biden chose her as the heir apparent to the Democratic nomination, but people are looking at some of her popularity ratings and some of her performance and saying, is she really the right person? So Democrats have a mess if Biden's not the nominee, and I've said that before. Yeah.
But to that point, Lauren,
Yeah.
if it's not the heir apparent, there may be someone to come out of left field or side stage, if you will. I mean, for the Democratic Party, who could that be?
I don't
Is it
see, I
Governor
don't
Gavin
see it.
Newsom?
No, I don't think
Why
it's
don't
Governor
you,
Gavin
what
Newsom.
don't you see?
Well, he led some of the longest economic and school lockdowns during the pandemic and went to $1,000 a plate restaurant while Americans couldn't even get to the grocery store. I mean, this is someone whose record will absolutely be drilled on homelessness, on the economic conditions in California, and how he dealt with COVID policy. And frankly, if there's another Republican running against someone like that, and I don't think we should completely count out DeSantis yet, he has a record that he can run on COVID policy. He's also got Ted Cruz's team on the ground in Iowa. Maybe he'll get through, although we know from history who wins Iowa won't necessarily get the nomination.
And what about Nikki Haley? You mentioned earlier how you thought she was brave to come out with a more moderate position. Maybe that is attractive in the general election for those people. You just sort of set up that conundrum that if it's not President Biden, that many Americans already stated they would not want VP Harris. So maybe they, on the Democratic side, they might even look at a Nikki Haley if she does come more to the middle.
The irony of this 8-person lineup, Arthel, really was that I would say maybe with the exception of Ramaswamy, who just simply doesn't have the experience, and Nikki Haley really pointed that out the other night, any of these candidates could do very well against Joe Biden. The only one we know Biden can beat for sure is Trump because of what happened in 2020. And head-to-head matchups with DeSantis and Biden show that. Even Trump is in a dead heat with Biden, although I think the evidence is there that a lot of moderates are alienated by him and angry after his time in office. But yes, in a different situation, if Nikki Haley was the nominee, she could win some of those voters over. I just don't know if she'll get there.
Well, it is indeed fascinating, and I do appreciate gaming it out with you, and I appreciate your analysis. As always, Dr. Lauren Wright, we'll see you again. Thank you so much.